this is Bobby, and I'm here with another vlog. And this is going to be vlog number 36, and today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. I obviously have nothing to do today because one, everything is still shut down, and two, I am as single as they come, but I have brought along a friend to join me on this vlog. So yeah. And I love absolutely everything about the aesthetic of Valentine's Day, like all the pinks and the reds and the pastels. So yes, as you can tell, I am very much in the mood for it. At least fashion wise. I don't actually celebrate Valentine's Day, but yeah. So I had a pretty good week book-wise. I didn't get in as many books as I normally do during the week because if you remember about a month and a half ago, I was doing a bunch of training at work, and I was like getting no books in. Well, we had to do our test this week for everything that we learned during that whole training, and yeah, we were supposed to do the testing like right after training so everything's fresh in our minds. Yeah, that didn't happen because of issues. So I spent my week kind of like trying to cram in all of this information. So of course when it came to taking the test, nothing I studied for was on it, so that was fun. I won't find out my test score until I think it's like a week or two, so that's fun for someone with anxiety. Why not? Let's do that to them. But yeah, it's nothing like major. It's just like to make sure that we understand all like food safety and stuff like that, but it's still just like a lot to deal with, and if I don't pass, I've got to do it again, and I really don't want to have to do it again because it's just so much information. It's like, I know what I'm doing. Why are you testing me? Why? But yeah, also, my boss at work, one of our chefs, he is currently teaching me how to make sourdough bread. It was a lot of fun. He showed me how to do it at work. I'll throw in a little clip here. You can see how it came out for my first time. My disformed little baby. Not too bad, but he gave me some of his starter for me to bring home and feed and take care of so I can make it at home and try it myself. I named my starter, I have two. One that is my backup and one that I'm currently using. The one that's backup and in my refrigerator's name is Crowley, because I was told you have to name them. I named him Crowley, which Crowley is one of my favorite characters from not only Supernatural, but Good Omens. So yes, I had to go with that. And then the one that I'm going to be baking with currently is named Hannibal. As you know, Hannibal is one of my favorite shows and one of my favorite characters. So yeah, I thought it was funny though. But yeah, they told me you have to name them. That is like the #1 rule of doing this. You have to name your starters. So yeah, I have two, but I'm making my own sourdough as we speak. I have it like setting up and everything, so excited to see how it comes out, because I know sourdough is like really hard to do and I'm still learning. But yeah, I have to keep like a journal and everything about making bread, and I'm loving it. It's crazy and it's fun and it's kind of stressful, but I'm digging it. So let's get into books, because I read some really good books this week. I have a reread and one that I absolutely just took me by surprise. The one that took me by surprise though was the book that I was reading at the end of last week, and that is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. This was absolutely nothing like I was expecting at all. It was so much fun. I ended up really loving all of the characters. I believe there is a sequel. I am looking forward to that now, but I just absolutely loved everything about this. There are so many different characters, but everything about this whole, that there is a library in hell where all of the unfinished works have gone to, because either they might get finished, they might not. One of the characters ends up escaping hell and tracking down his author, trying to inspire her to start writing again, and I loved it. Everything about this was just so much fun. Like I said, it was very, very different than what I thought it was going to be about, but it was great. I really, really enjoyed it. This is definitely a top read for me. I went with 4 stars. Just the pacing and everything was great. It was just so much fun. I don't want to talk too much about it because I feel like this is one of those books you should just go into completely open and not knowing what to expect from it. Because like if you love reading, you love books, this is a book about books and how it can change you and how there's so many different emotions tied to books and everything. And anybody that's a writer or has ever written anything, even if it was your little short stories when you were younger and you wrote and you got so attached to your characters, but then you kind of just fade out of it. I think most people have done that. I did that a lot as a kid when I was younger, like a teenager. The amount of like fan fictions that I started and literally never got very far into, I now kind of feel bad about them, but it was great. Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. Like I said, I loved all of the different characters. We have a character named Hero. He is your typical storybook hero type of person. Like through the whole thing, you're just like, he's supposed to be the charming one and stuff like that. But when it came to Hero, though, there were plot twists and stuff that I absolutely ended up loving. I didn't see them coming, and that's always a huge plus for me. When it came to the character Claire, who is basically the main character. I mean, all of these characters are kind of the main character, but she's the head librarian of this unwritten wing of the library in hell. And I really liked her because she's such a headstrong character, but she also was so just, I don't know how to put it with her. Like, I just really enjoyed her. She was headstrong. She knew what she was doing, but she was also very flawed, and I loved it. And then we have her assistant, Brevity, who is an ex-muse. I adored her so much. I loved the dynamic to their whole team, including Leto, who is a new demon to hell. They all have such distinct personalities and they blend really well together. And then on the opposite side, we have the character Ramayal and Uriel. Not my favorite, but you're not supposed to like them, so I think it was really well written for them, because the whole time I'm just like, I don't like you guys, but I'm not supposed to like you, so good job, I guess. But I love the ending. Like, I am so excited for the sequel. Like I said, this was one of those books where every time I hear it mentioned, it was either someone they want to read it and haven't read it, or it was really polarized. Like, I didn't really know what to expect, and I honestly didn't get what I was expecting at all, but I loved it. Like I said, 4 stars. I definitely recommend this if you want something kind of crazy, really fun, and interesting characters with a super unique, plot. So yes, I loved it. This next book that I read is actually a reread, and I have read it like 6 times or more. Yeah, I've read it quite a few times. It's one of my absolute favorite books. I have a tattoo dedicated to it, even because there is a certain part of this book that means the absolute world to me, and it helped me in a really dark time of my life. And so I wanted to do a reread of this again, since I try and do it yearly, but last year with joining booktube and getting into all of the readathons and stuff, I just never got around to actually picking it up again, and I was kind of sad. I definitely wanted to get it in at the beginning of the year because I also have the new graphic novel adaptation of it that I would like to read sometime later this year, and that is SlaughterhouseFive by Kurt Vonnegut. I read this for the first time, I think it was back in 2013. It sounds about right. I had heard of Kurt Vonnegut. Well, I'd heard the name Vonnegut a lot, and I didn't actually know he was an author until a little later after that. And then after reading him, though, I found out that, my God, he has been following me around for most of my life, and I didn't realize it. What made me finally look into him and picking him up is that I came across it in him in Supernatural. I'm reading, that's one of the reasons I wanted to make sure I got this book in on this readathon, because Dean, one of his favorite authors and one of the only authors they mentioned that he does read, is Kurt Vonnegut. So I thought that was fun to get it into this Waywardathon that I'm doing, which is a Supernatural readathon. But I had read it in Ready Player One. The main character Wade names his spaceship that he gets in the book Vonnegut. And I was finally, okay, you know what? I need to like read this guy. So this is his like best known or his most well-known book. A lot of people I guess have to read this in high school. I obviously didn't. And when I picked it up, I had no idea what to expect, especially from his writing or anything. Everything that had mentioned it were always like sci-fi and kind of quirky, fun, pieces of media that I like. He's mentioned in the show Psych. And I was like, okay, so obviously this got to be kind of funny. But what else? Like, I didn't know what to expect, and it blew me away. Like I mentioned, it came to me at a perfect time in my life for a certain part of this book. And I think it's because of that part of the book is why I love it so much. Like I said, I did the audiobook for the first time this time. I think for the future when I do a reread, I will be reading this physically. The audiobook was wonderful, like don't get me wrong, I did like it. I don't know, I didn't feel that connection to it as I did like every other time that I've reread this, because like I said, this is like my 5th or 6th reread of this book. But yeah, so I think for future holding, going into the future, I will be definitely reading this physically. But I really did like the audiobook. Like I said, it didn't feel the same to me. So basically what happens in this book, which I should probably mention, is we follow the story of a man named Billy Pilgrim. Billy Pilgrim has become dislodged in time. He starts jumping from all different points of his life. He was also in a war during World War II, and he was in this town of Dresden, which was later firebombed. Dresden is based on actual events. Kurt Vonnegut did serve in the military and everything. At the end of the audiobook, I did like is that it did have a author interview, and he talks about who actually inspired the character of Billy Pilgrim. A lot of people always thought it was inspired by himself, but it wasn't. It was someone that he met in the war. But while all that's happening and he is jumping all over the place in his life, he has also been abducted by aliens that have taken him back to their planet, where he is living out the rest of his life with another human who is a woman, and they kind of start their lives. But he is also still living his life on Earth because of him being dislodged in time. It is very kind of all over the place, very quirky. This is definitely a book that a lot of people I have seen weren't a fan of, and I completely get it. Like I said, it's just there was a certain part of it that hit me really, really hard, and it stuck with me, and I love it so much for that. And that is because the alien race, why can I not? When I read it fine, but when I try and say it, I always mess up. The Tralfamadorians. I'm probably messing that up. I don't know what it is when I try and say it out loud. I mess it up, but I read it off fine. And when I heard it in the audiobook, I was saying it fine. But when I try and like say it just straight off the top of my head, I can't do it. I don't know what it is. But they have this philosophy for themselves when it comes to death. And that is because they see this alien race, they see all timelines of everything that has happened and is going to happen. So when someone dies, they see it as this person is dead in this moment, but in thousands of other moments, they're still alive. And I loved that so much when I first read it. And it just really stuck with me because the first time I read this, I was dealing with the death of my grandfather. So it really just helped with the coping of everything. And I loved that whole philosophy so much. And the other thing is that every time in this book it mentions someone dying or people dying or anything like that, it uses the phrase "so it goes," because someone dies, so it goes, but they're still alive in these other moments. And I just loved it so much. Like I said, it was just one of those things you find at the right time in your life. And I think that's just why it stuck with me so much, is like I found this when I needed to, and to this day, that whole part just sticks with me. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's not really a full-on quote. Well, it is a quote because obviously it's a quote, but it's like a whole paragraph long when he explains it. But that part just really stuck with me. But everything about this book I just found really fun. It was super weird, quirky. I have read a lot of Vonnegut's other books. I just absolutely love this book. It was still a 5-star, but like I said, in the future, I don't think I'll do the audiobook again. I just absolutely love reading this one physically. So yes, 5 stars, one of my favorites. I do want to get in the graphic novel later this year. So yes, 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 a favorite, and it made me happy to read it again. These next 2 books were the ones I was reading at the same time, because the other 2, these 2 I both did the audiobooks for, and then I finally picked up a physical book, and that was I'll Be the One by Laila Lee. This was a really, really cute contemporary book. I ended up really loving it. I went with 4 stars. We follow the story of a girl named Sky who she lives in LA, and she wants to be a K-pop star. But the thing is, she is a plus size girl, and everyone keeps telling her that she can't do it because to be a famous K-pop star, they have to be skinny, they have to be skinny, they have to be skinny, and she's not. This deals with a lot of body issues, but most of it is very, very positive. Sky is very accepting of herself. She knows she's fat. She calls herself fat, and she loves herself for it. She is also an amazing dancer and amazing singer. When she enters this competition, she enters there's 3 different categories. There's one for singing, one for dancing, and one for a combination of the 2. She enters the combination one, and it is so much fun, but at the same time, it does really hit you because she deals with so much negativity. One of the worst critics to her is her own mother, and it broke my heart. But at the same time, this might be a little bit of spoiler, but not too much. I just feel like this is something that people would want to know going into this book, because I absolutely loved it when it happened, because so many other books always make the mistake for me and piss me off for not doing what they did in this book, and that is Sky eventually finds out why her mother is so critical about her weight and, treats her like shit about her weight. And that is because her mom was fat when she was younger and she was criticized. So now that her mom is older and skinny, she wants her daughter to be skinny as well. Every other book that you read when it comes to not just body issues, but any time when a parent is emotionally abusive to the child, they make the excuse of, well, it happened to them when they were younger, so this is just, they don't know how to deal with it. Sky understands why, when this comes to light, she understands why her mom is the way she is, but she doesn't forgive her for it. And oh my goodness, I threw the book down and I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just because your parents went through something similar to you does not mean they have a right to treat you like shit. You do not have to accept the apology. You do not have to accept that type of treatment. And I loved it so much in here because of that. She's like, okay, so my mom was bullied. It does not give her a right to treat me the same way. She should know better. And I was just over the frickin' moon, when that came out, because this is the only time I have ever came across that, because usually it's like, oh, well, I understand now. I'm just going to sit here and let them still be emotionally abusive to me. She has a really great relationship with her dad. They have a very unique kind of, well, not even that unique anymore, but a very different type of family unit. And I just really, really enjoyed this book. Sky ends up with a crush on one of the other contestants. He is actually a famous Instagram model. So they meet and she kind of thinks he's going to be super stuck up, but he's actually really, really sweet. Sky is actually bisexual. She is not out to her parents or anybody because her parents, well, especially her mom, she's so traditionally Korean, that she knows that her mom will not accept her, and it's like, okay, my mom already hates me because I'm fat. I really don't want to add anything else to it. I love how she does kind of talk about this though, how she wants to date girls, but she knows she can't. It's hits a lot of really amazing points in this book. I wasn't expecting it to be as kind of critical about certain things as it was, and I loved it. We also have an absolutely adorable lesbian couple that Sky ends up meeting while entering this competition, and her getting to see them interact with each other and knowing that she wants that, but she probably won't get it. And then when it comes to the character Henry Cho, who is the love interest, he is absolutely adorable. I do really like his character. I liked their dynamic. It's been a while since I truly just like loved a couple and I was like really rooting for them, and I really found it in here. The only two things why I couldn't go with like a 5-star for this is that, one, there is quite a bit of girl hate in here. I get that, like, I do understand that the whole with Sky being fat with other girls and other people constantly making fun of her, making comments, but the author kind of always made sure it was a lot of girls in here, and it was just very, after a while, it kind of started, like, she does make some friends that are girls, and her two best friends are girls, but when it comes to, like, every other, you know, female character outside of her, like, friend bubble, they all hated her because she was fat. There was, like, no other excuse. Like, it was just kind of like, after a while, like, okay, like, not everybody on this planet is gonna hate her because she's fat. Like, she's an amazing singer and dancer. Like, it would have been better for, like, after, you know, when it came to, like, the 30th person that hated her because she was fat, like, okay, like, not everybody is going to be like that. I know it was supposed to be because everyone there was, like, majority of them were, like, either Korean or Asian, but it kind of went a little too far with so much girl hate. I'm not a big fan of it. So I got a little tiring after a while. I wanted a little more positivity when it came to the other female characters outside of Sky's bubble. The other thing is that Sky is constantly talking about that her two best friends, just that she wishes they were better friends to her, that, you know, she's so critical of them, but at the end of the day, Sky is actually a really shitty friend to them as well. Like, she's so self-absorbed in what she's doing, and then this is a book about body positivity, or about, you know, Sky kind of coming to terms with the other way other people see her and things like that, but it focuses so much that, well, no one's gonna like me because I'm fat. No one's gonna like me because I'm fat. My friends, they could be better friends, but they're skinnier than me, so they can't be a better friend to me because I'm fat. Like, it got really kind of just like, okay, come on, let's kind of, it's a little too much. Like I said, it was just the fact that Sky constantly talked about how bad her friends are when she was not that great of a friend as all, you know, either. But it was really, really cute. It was really fun. I would definitely check out more by this author. I absolutely adored this. It was just an adorable book. And like I said, there were scenes in here where I got so just like angry because of the way people were treating Sky, because as someone who was fat for 90% of her life, I get everything that she was talking about and everything like that. And it was just a very, very cute book that hit some very hard topics. And like I said, my favorite part though was the relationship between Sky and her mom. Thankfully, I do not have that type of relationship with my mom. My mom is absolutely amazing, but I did have that relationship with my father. And so yeah, I loved the fact though that Sky did not forgive her mom for everything, and it does actually confront the fact that the things that her mom tells her is emotional abuse. It is brought up finally that it's not just my mom being my mom, or, you know, she's just critical because she's my parent, or it's tough love. No, it does get confronted as emotional abuse, and I really appreciated the author for that, because that is something that we need to start telling, especially this younger generation. When it comes to your parents, there is that, you know, line of tough love. You know, they want you to, you know, the best for you, but then it does easily cross over to emotional abuse. And like I said, I was really surprised how hard like that the author actually stuck with it, and I appreciate it. So yes, I will definitely be checking out more from this author, and I loved this. It was adorable. I do recommend it. This next book, I don't even know how to talk about this book. I still don't know, like, I know there is a few books where I'm like, I don't know how to rate it, and it's just like, I think the last one I read like that was No Longer Human by Junji Ito. I was like, I don't know what to rate it. Like, I don't. This one, I truly don't know how to rate this book. And I don't know when I'll know what to rate it. I think I'm just gonna put a 3-star on it because that'll just be right in the middle of the field. But 90% of this book is 5 stars. I loved it, but there was one huge, just glaringly awful thing for me, and it irritated me so much, and it just brought the rating down because it was just like, I don't know, and that is The Poppy War by Rf Quang. As you know, I have been dying to read this book. I finally picked it up. I love everything about this book. When it comes to the world is amazing. The plot is just phenomenal. The way the author has mixed in these historical events with these kind of fantastical elements of magic, but the way this magic is so raw and how just god awful everything is. I loved it. I loved the writing. The pace was awesome. I was just loving everything. The thing that gets me with this book is the main character, Rin. Holy hell, I cannot stand Rin. I loved her for the first literal half of the book. It came to the 49% because I was going to read this one physically, but I ended up going the audiobook for it, and I went physical for I'll Be the One because I'm like a cute contemporary. It'll be easy to read. Ugh, my god, I wanted to straight, like, seriously, at the 49% mark on the audiobook, I could not stand Rin. She went from being this really, like, amazing character who I was interested in. She was kind of naive, but she was learning, and she was so fierce and just like, oh, I was loving her. But when it came to the second half, it's like the author just like disintegrated her character, made her so goddamn whiny, and then didn't know what the hell she was actually doing. Like, she makes some of, like, there's one thing I can't stand is when characters keep constantly making stupid decisions for no fucking reason. Like, everyone around them is telling them, hey, don't do this thing. Well, I'm gonna do the thing. Oh shit, I fucked up. I did this thing and now everything's a mess. Okay, the same people are telling you, hey, don't do this other thing. Well, I'm gonna do it. And then they're gonna cry about it after doing it and everything goes to hell after they were warned multiple times. Like, it irritated me. And then the narrator had an amazing voice. This is a book I do not recommend the audiobook for. The narrator had an amazing narrator voice for everything that was going on in the book, except when she started talking in Rin's voice. She made it so high-pitched and whiny sounding that I just cringed. It was literally like nails on a chalkboard. I haven't hated a narrator's voice this much for a character since I read A Darker Shade of Magic and the narrator's voice for Lyla. It was just horrible. I don't know. It was like she would talk about Rin's actions and it would be the narrator's voice, and it was amazing. She has a phenomenal narrating voice. And then for some reason, as soon as Rin would talk, she just like pitched her voice so high. None of the other girls in this book are pitched that high when they talk. I don't know what the hell she was doing. Also, there is a character in here named Alton. They mention that damn name as much as it was like reading Uprooted by Naomi Novak again, where the main character literally just screams "Gotcha" like 30 times every fucking page. Well, that's how the author is with this guy named Alton. It's Alton this, Alton that, Alton. I do not want to hear the fucking name Alton ever again. And the character wasn't even that great of a freaking character, so I was just like annoyed. Like, I don't understand what the hell was going on in that. Like, it was just Alton so amazing, Alton so perfect, Alton this, Alton that. It was just, it irritated me. I got so annoyed. But my main thing when it came to Rin is that one sentence, she will literally be going, oh, I'm gonna kill everyone, I'm gonna get my revenge, and I'm going to like destroy everything. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this. Like, I wanted this morally gray, just kind of character that's getting more and more corrupt. And then as soon as she literally talks in the very next sentence, she's just crying like a baby for no reason. She's just crying or whining, and it's like, weren't you just going to behead and kill and destroy everybody, and now you're crying for no fucking reason? But yeah, I hate Rin. And that was the thing. A lot of people tried to tell me that, well, she's supposed to be this despicable character that's slowly becoming morally gray. And I'm like, that's not the problem. I don't know how to explain it to you. That's not the problem. I love morally gray characters. I was rooting for this whole like revenge plot. It was just Rin as an actual character. She crosses that line that I've mentioned before that I don't like, from naive to plain old stupid. And most of her decisions that she makes are incredibly stupid and just annoying, and I am just like, I was over her. But I loved everything else. I want to know more. I want to keep going with this, but I don't actually know when I might get to the second book, because I don't want to have to read Rin ever again. Like, if Rin died and we took up with a new character, then I would be, hell yeah, I'd be reading the next book like next month. But a lot of people who felt the same way about Rin have said that she's even worse in the second book. So I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know what to rate it. Like, as a true, I'm gonna go 3 stars because I don't know how else to rate this book, because everything about it was a 5-star except Rin. I don't know. I can't even, I do recommend this, but I hate Rin. I hate her so freaking much. So yeah, there we go. After I finished that, I started another book, and this is one of the ones that I've been dying for, because this author always likes to destroy my heart and everything about it. And I'm ready for this, but I'm not ready, but I am ready, and I'm already about 30% in, and I'm loving it. And that is The Project by Courtney Summers. We follow the story of a girl named Lo, whose sister had joined her sister who has joined a cult, and she is trying to find out exactly what is going on and trying to get a hold of her sister again, because while she is waiting for a train to come, a young man comes up to her, recognizes her, tells her something, and then proceeds to jump in front of this train, killing himself. And she wants to find her sister again. The only thing about this cult, though, is that they are not seen as a cult, because they do so many good things for like the community, and they're seen as this very positive group. We are told for the most part of this story in Lo's point of view, where it's broken up in different timelines. We have Lo, who is looking for her sister, and this has been after years and years of her being with this cult, with this project. And we also get the point of view of her sister B before she joins the cult, what leads her into the cult, and when she first joins it. And one thing I can say about this book, I'm already super frustrated, but I knew going in I was going to be that way, and that is because anything to do with cults or people that join cults, it frustrates me so much, because it's like, how the hell did you fall for this? Like, it's obvious what they are. But that comes from personal life experiences, because growing up for 11 years of my life, I went to a private Christian school, and then they closed the school down and I got thrown into public school. So I went from this very religious based school where, we were constantly in church. We had, chapel at least once a week. We studied the Bible every single day. Our science books were heavily edited when it came to actual how the world fucking works, as well as history. Our history books took in, like general history, but it also gave history from the Bible. So being in that kind of environment and then getting thrown into, now I am an atheist, and I have been for many, many years. I have seen how churches and all that work, and I don't agree with it. So when I see things about cults and stuff like that, it's just like, how do you not see what they're doing to you? Like, they are literally telling you what you want to hear. And I get it, but at the same time, it frustrates me, because it's like, how do you not see everything else that is going around you? Like, I just want to shake people. And I knew that's how I was going to be with this book. That was one of the main reasons why I was very, very excited, but very hesitant about wanting to read this. And Courtney Summers, so far, she has done an amazing, I'm only 30% into this book, but she's already done such an amazing job with like getting my emotions so just like frustrated. And I cannot wait to see where this is going. We are starting to pick up pace, and I'm just like ready, and I cannot wait. So yeah, I'm just like, what? Crazy, like, let's do this. But at the same time, I'm just like, oh my god, I know this is gonna be a book that I have to take kind of breaks from. But yeah, so there we go. I'm loving it. This is though what I am currently reading, so you'll get my full-on thoughts next vlog. For this upcoming week, I have the books that I want to really get to. I actually do not know if I'm going to finish this TBR. This week really threw me off with I didn't get in as many books in that I normally do, but also I kind of just looked over and I have a lot of books to still go. So my main goal for this week is to finish the project. Physically, I'm going to start the Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. This is the book where everyone says the main character is god awful, like you hate him, but he's written that way. So unlike the Poppy War, where I feel like, you know, Rin is supposed to be that morally gray character, but you're still slowly rooting for them. I've heard that this character is one that you're supposed to hate and you do end up hating. So I'm very, very interested in this one. The other book, if I do finish that within a good time, I want to start Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I'm very interested in this one, so I'll be doing this one physically. And then my 2 audiobooks I know for sure I want to get in this week are 2 very chunky boys. And the first one is Lair of Dreams by Lyla Lee. This is book 2 in the Diviners. And Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames, which is the second book in the, you know, I don't actually know if there is a, like, working title for this series. The first book is King of the Wilds. I don't know if it's just Kings of the Wild or what, but yeah, this is the second book, so 2 sequels, but I'm very excited for these. I can't wait for this one. This will be the first audiobook I pick up, but like I said, it's a very, very, very chunky boy, so I'm going to have to really buckle down and get in some reading if I want to finish this TBR, because I still have, not counting those 5 books including the project, I still have like 9 other books to go, and I don't know if I'm going to do this because, yeah, I didn't really plan this out very well, did I? Because these are some very chunky boys. But yes, there we go. That's what's what. That is my week. I have rambled long enough. So I hope you guys had an amazing reading week. What did you read this week? Do you have a new favorite book? What's a character that you absolutely hated? I would love to know that, because yeah, I'm like really interested. That's what I asked in the Facebook group, and it's crazy how many characters people just absolutely despised, and there's a lot of characters that people really hate from series that I'm actually really looking forward to getting into. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to bump these books up my one of the main ones is the character, I think his name is Fitz, and he is from Robin Hobb's series, the one, what is it called, the Assassins Apprentice, I think. I've wanted to read that book. I definitely am still planning on reading it, and I think I might actually bump it up because people say this character is so freaking annoying, and I'm very interested to see, is he really this bad? Because it was like unanimous in almost every single comment that people were like, oh yeah, I hated him, I hated him. So what is a character you absolutely hate? I am very curious about this like question now. So, but there we go. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I will drop all those links down below. Once again, happy Valentine's Day. Take care and happy reading. Bye.